What is up, ladies and gentlemen, and all my lovelies in between and beyond? This is Christian from That Most Excellent Network, and every Wednesday is New Comic Book Day. You can already see that this was a huge week for me. Getting a little crazy with the polls, as you can see. But let's dive right into it. This is going to be DC first with the Absolute series. This is Absolute Green Arrow. This is issue 4, the introduction of Absolute Solomon Grundy. I'm super stoked with how this has been unraveling. I think it's kind of like sort of a cop out of how they could possibly bring back Ollie, right? But you know what? I'm all for it because they kind of did him dirty, disrespectful on how they took him out in the first place. So looking forward to this issue. Moving on, this is Absolute Flash. This is issue 18. I'm really enjoying the ensemble of characters that they have kind of gathered together and this little trio they have with the Flash. Really interested to see where they're going to go after that last kind of heartbreaking issue with Gorilla Grodd. Man, that was such a bummer. But you know what? I understand why it had to happen. Moving on to DC Next Level. This is Lobo issue 6. This is complete madness, tomfoolery. I think it's funny that Scotty Young, who's most known for writing probably I Hate Fairyland, is having to write Lobo going to Fairyland to fight the Tooth Fairy. How apropos. Next up, from Next Level, also it's Deathstroke the Terminator. Who is this Deathstroke wannabe? We found out, right? It was the reveal, right? What did you feel about the reveal? I thought it was pretty cool. Kind of obvious now that I think about it. But in hindsight, you know, it's always going to be expected. But this seems to be the clash building up between this family of assassins. Onwards to Batwoman issue 6. I'm kind of understanding where things are now. I haven't read the previous run of Batwoman, but I'm kind of seeing where we are now. I'm wondering, what are we going to do after this arc? Like, honestly, like it just seems that once this kind of story wraps up, I don't really see how or where they're going to go. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But it's been dope. I like it so far. This is part 3 of the Kingdom of God arc going on right now. This is Superman Unlimited. Super dope. I kind of want to go back and read Kneel Before Zod, just to kind of understand more of his character because I'm still pretty new. But they've been doing a great job in each of these issues to kind of give you that knowledge, right? That understanding of where he is, where he comes from, what's his attitude, right? Towards Superman and what he represents, and this whole culmination of understanding where Superwoman's powers, right? Where Lois Lane was getting her powers from. Pretty interesting stuff. I like it. And he's just seems like Zod's gonna Zod, but with Superman kind of back in the picture, let's see how he'll be able to handle himself then. All right. This is Wonder Woman issue 35, and I got Wonder Woman issue 36. I am hopping on post Tom King because I think it's a great jumping on point. Stephanie Williams has done an incredible job for those interludes. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to hop on now. I think it's the perfect time to just kind of be able to jump onto a story arc, get the summary of what I've missed thus far, and keep it pushing with Wonder Woman. I can finally say that I am picking up the Trinity of the DC universe, main universe. All right, I've been waiting for this for such a long time. This is issue 38 of New Titans. As you can see, Static Shock on the cover. I didn't get a variant, even though I really wanted to, but I was already kind of like overpriced with this pull for this this week. But super stoked to see what they're going to do with Static and just, you know, what role he's going to play moving up into his own solo series. I wonder how invested he is going to be in Titans, or if this is just going to be a couple of like reintroductions to his characters, see what he's been up to, if he's going to be the leader of this team, because I do know they have another Titans book coming up, so what's going to happen? All right, this is issue 54 of Batman Superman World's Finest. Looks like they're playing baseball in hell. At least we got Etrigan in the background. Love that. You know what? You just need like a lighthearted, just fun nonsense book sometimes. All right, from DC Vertigo, this is issue 7 of End of Life, building up towards a redemption arc. I don't know what's going on with this guy, but he's being tortured, and the town maybe is going to come and save him. Who knows? Maybe he's just going to break out on his own and just continue to be a dick. But I'm really enjoying that series. All right, moving on to Marvel. This is Avengers Armageddon issue 3. I am digging this story arc. There's a lot going on right now, a lot of stories building that we're needing to prepare for. But you know what? For what it is, I think it's pretty cool. I like Thunderbolt Ross as a villain. He's an asshole. And post Doom, it's kind of makes the most sense considering that Red Hulk had the most, the biggest of the tie-ins and spin-off series. So really glad to see Red Hulk thriving as the biggest villain right now. All right, this is issue 5 of Daredevil. I believe this is wrapping up the current story arc for this. And I love it. I love it. I think street level crime is done the best in Marvel. Daredevil is obviously one of the best characters, one of the most favorite characters of many people, and I think that they are knocking it out of the park right now with the story arc. I love that Matt Murdock or Daredevil has their back up against the wall and is really kind of fearful of this villain and having to kind of relearn his abilities and adapt in a way that he hasn't really done so in quite a while. So really, really good when there's stakes for their characters. Also for Marvel, this is issue 14 or the legacy issue 800 of Thor or the Immortal Thor. I almost picked up one of the variants because it was such a badass cover. But here we have some more tales for Thor celebrating a milestone issue and hopefully building up more towards where they're going to go with the Immortal Thor right now. I do know that there's a little slight crossover with the Queen in Black. Not picking up the Queen in Black. There's too much going on, and that's a weekly series with a couple tie-ins. Can't commit to that, but sticking with the Immortal Thor. All right, moving on to Image. I did get The Last Driver issue 1. Sean Gordon Murphy, absolutely love his work. First introduced in Tokyo Ghost with Rick Remender on that story. Really like that this is like a horizontal issue and that it's going to open up. So I had to grab this cover. It just makes the most sense. But yeah, I was kind of peeked into the story and it seems interesting enough. It seems it's only going to be 5 issues. But you know what? I always love everything that Sean Gordon Murphy puts out. I love that the colors from the artwork, everything, and they're really good writer as well. All right, also from Image, this is issue 1 of Bug Wars, The Coming of the War Doom. I read the beginning of Bug Wars, really enjoyed it. I like how they're ramping things up. It looks like the Slaymaker, right, is growing more into his role as this prophesized bringer of I don't know, freedom, war, who knows. But I did also get the Not Safe for Work variant. Obviously, I can't show you. I did already see what this cover is, and holy shit, they were not kidding. It is definitely not safe for work. All right, continuing on, this is issue 7 of The Darkness. Finally, just a horrible, it's a payoff, but in like the best / worst way for the character, not for like as in bad for the story. Having to live with their consequences and their choices, and we just see that it built in tragedy. It was kind of sad. I'm hoping, I don't know, maybe they cheese it and they work a way around. Man, that's tough for him to just lose the only person that really ever gave a shit about him. But you know what? That's how it is. Is the darkness going to consume him? Is he going to be able to live past? We'll find out in this issue. All right. Battle Beast issue 12. This is the final issue for this story arc. I believe they are taking a hiatus from it. Yeah, and I liked it for what it is. It's not doing anything in particular fantastic. It is like a giant bloody gore fest, and that's been awesome. But story-wise, it's I guess if you're more invested in Invincible and these characters and how they made their appearance there, I guess it would have much more of like a cooler impact for the greater universe. But as a story, it's pretty dope. I still like it regardless, if it's attached to Invincible. With the final closing of this story arc, depending on how this closes, I might just drop it here and either pick up a trade or something. But I have been picking it up for quite some time, and you know what? I'm satisfied with leaving it right here. All right. Moving on, this is G.I. Joe issue 25. This is a giant, huge, momentous point in this story where these two different Joe teams are going to clash. So let's see who comes out on top, or if any secrets are revealed, because we do see that Colonel Hawk has been up to some devious planning. All right, from Ignition Press, this is Dispatch issue 2. I really like this. This is like, best I can describe it is if John Wick was just a regular guy and he got caught in a really crazy scenario and he's just using his skills to protect people, even though he's just a delivery driver. I particularly enjoy how much shit, or like how blasé some people are, where they're like, dude, what are you doing here? Like, what? Like, like, leave it to the professionals. And he's just like, I'm just going to handle it. And then they see what he does, and they're like, oh, I'm just going to step back and let you do your thing, man. He throws hands. All right, from Mad Cave, this is Junk Punch issue 3. This is just a fun book. This is just a fun book overall. I'm enjoying the last issue. Just over the top kind of adult humor, randomness. Not really much else to say about it. It's a really no stakes book, so to speak, but fun nevertheless. All right, from Dark Horse, this is Only the Savage Are Left. I believe this is issue 3. Yes, issue 3. Great. I really enjoy where they're going with this. If you're not already picking it up, I would say hop on a trade once this comes out, because it's a little different post-apocalypse. I do enjoy how these individuals are getting infected and can either stop the spread, or they can kind of accustom themselves to the disease and use it against all these other creatures that are developing, all these people that are transmutating, if that's the right word. Really want to see the main character kind of level up, so to speak, into the role, because he's been taking a very pacifistic route and trying not to hurt anybody and just living off on second chances. But it's not always the occasion. Sometimes you just have to defend yourself. All right. And last from these single issues is Mum-Ra, the Ever Living. This is the last issue for this run. This is issue 5. I do like how they've been building Mum-Ra to kind of be like a Doctor Doomish kind of character in a way, if that makes sense. If you've been reading it, you kind of understand. He's been fighting gods. His story, how it's unraveled into the position where he's at. He has this potential to be the biggest bad and have all this power, and just waiting for the right moment, and tying in with the rest of the Thundercats universe stuff that's going on. Super stoked to see how they're going to kind of bridge that gap moving forward into the series. All right, moving on to the trades. This is Assorted Crisis Events issue, or volume 2. I had to pick up this trade. I did read a couple of the issues in here, but I stopped buying the single issues because I did just conform and say, I'm just going to wait for the trades. They're so good that I'm just going to wait for that, because I just want to consume them all at once. And, it's kind of easier to just buy trades sometimes for books that you're reading. All right. This was the biggest purchase of the week. This is Red Sonja, the Gail Simone anthology, the complete Gail Simone omnibus. I wish it was a hardcover, but you know what? This is a good chunk of Red Sonja that I have not read. I've been wanting to read this much, and I did have a couple of single issues, but I just gave up because I said, there's so many variants, there's so many issues. This is perfect for me. Right in that vein of Conan and Samaria and the entire Hyborian age or Hyperborea, whichever age it is. I love Red Sonja. I love that kind of barbarian vibe. And so super stoked to have this with me this week. All right, that's everything from this week alone. I'm back in the game. I am trying to do more of these videos again. Let me know what you're reading. What did you pick up? What are you most excited for? What did you drop? Let me know in the comments down below what you're continuing to grab, and let me know what you're more interested to hear more about, so that way I can make videos about that as well. So if you want to just keep up with the story, maybe I could do that for you, so that way you don't have to pick it up, because I know how expensive this hobby can be, and I am financially irresponsible. So I'm just doing all of that for your sakes, or maybe a tax write-off in the future because it's featured in this video. Ha! Planning loopholes, right? All right, that's it for this week, everybody. Stay safe. Go support your local comic book shop. But most importantly, stay excellent.